Hi everyone, my name is Fan. I'm the technical marketing engineer for Cisco CSR 1000V router. In this video, I will spend like 10 minutes to help you walk through the steps to start up a CSR in Azure. CSR is a cloud service router that can run on any hypervisor and public cloud, like AWS, like Azure. Also, it has a lot of features like ASR 1K. So today I'm going to walk through every step of how to bring up a CSR 1KB router in the Azure. The first step is to launch CSR 1K from Azure Marketplace. The second is during the launch, we have to configure a lot of storage, subnet, and interface. The third is after boot up the router, and we need to configure the router. And in the last, I will give you some best practice and deploy guidance. So let's go back to the Azure console. As you can see on the console, in the left-hand side, there is a lot of resources you can use. So we are going to create the router first. We click the new. Then in the search place, we just type CSR and hit enter. Now it will show up with all the CSR options on Azure today, like 2nix deployment and 4nix deployment. And we are adding more features and links to the Azure in future. We select this one, and it will give you a brief of the product information like the features, VPN, we support like the routing protocols and like the application visibility and the control features we support on the router. So let's scroll down. You also can see it will basically give you a 60-day evaluation license, which means you can use all the features in the 6 days. That's great. During the create process, we will need to input the name, so we call CSR1, and the username, let's use Cisco. For the password, it needs at least one capital, one number, so let's use capital C, ISC, 123. The resource group is a logical concept that you can allocate a lot of instances in one resource group, so let's just use RG, create a new name. Location, we choose the US West. In the settings, first we need to specify the storage disk for the routers. Please be aware that we only support D2 type today, and we will add more flavors in the future. The disk size should not be changed even on the creation of the VM or after the creation. So the D2 standard will basically give you 7 GB for the storage. We click this one, select. And for the storage account, let's just account to manage the storage. We can create a new one. Let's call CSR1 storage. Okay. In the public IP address, because you need this IP address to be accessible from your PC, and you can use SSH to connect to the routers. Let's create a new one called CSR1 IP public. For DNS label, let's just use CSR1-DNS. Virtual network here is kind of like the virtual private cloud on the AWS. It's a logical isolation of all your network into one virtualized network. So let's create a new one here, CSR1 VNet 1. And let's using the 1016/16 IP address. Okay, we need to save it first. CSR. Okay, so let's come to the last step. Creation of the subnets. As I mentioned in the beginning, we have chosen the CSR with two NICs as the option. So we have to create two subnets here. One is for public subnet. That's the /24. And the other one is a private subnet. That will use 1.0/24. Click OK. Now, next step. This will validate all the configurations you have input in the previous step. So you can see the virtual machine name, you can see the virtual network we have specified, you can see the subnet. Okay, let's click OK. That's great. So after that, it will showing the progress of deploying the CSR 1KB in Azure. Basically, in the first time, it may cost like around 10 minutes. So let's get back to it later. The router has been successfully deployed. If you click the virtual machine, you can see there is CSR1 we just created and the status is running. Let's click the router. Find the network interface. There are two interfaces as we created before. One is for the private IP address, that's the 16.1.4. Another one is for the internet facing, in the subnet .0.4. And for the IP address, public IP address is here. We can use that IP address to SSH. You can also find that there is one security group associated with this interface. This is created by the Azure automatically. Let's connect. Let's click the security group. You can see by default there are three inbound rules, which will allow you to access to this virtual machine. The second one and the third one is used for the IPsec VPN and for the NAT. That's all created automatically. So let's get the public IP address and the SSH to it. SSH. The username is Cisco. Yes. Password is capital CICO123. Okay, after that we are connected to the routers. You can see the name has already changed. Let's do a show version to see the iOS version is running. The version here is 3.16 and it is iOS XE, which means it's a CSR 1KB running on the Azure. You can also do a show license to see this is the licenses you can use in this router. If we do a show IP interface brief, you can see these are the two interfaces that we can use on the router. Okay, I think that's pretty much of how to bring up a CSR 1KB in the Azure cloud. So in the last, I will give you some best practice and guidance. First, as I have explained before, do not change storage size during or after the router boot up. Leave it as default. We cannot change the size. Second, some of the layer 2 features like HSRP, VRP, IGMP, and OTV are not supported because currently the Azure doesn't support layer 2 or multicast features in the cloud. So that's why these layer 2 features are limited on the Azure cloud. You can take a look at the link below. Most of the layer 3 features are supported on the Azure cloud. The last one is in this version, in this 3.16 version, the SSH on CSR 1KB is infinitive when you boot up the router for the first time. However, Azure has a 4 minutes timeout value that's on their terminal server, so it will kick you off the router without issuing the clearing lines command. This will bring an issue is that if you are kicked out for so many times, you may not be able to log into the routers anymore. So workaround for that is, first one, you can use -O options to specify the server alive interval to 60 seconds in your SSH command. So after 60 seconds, your SSH client will send a finish exit command to the server to quit the connection, which will avoid this problem happens. Second is you can change the execute timeout on the CSR routers directly. Let's go back to the router and show run. If you scroll down to the last part, you can see the X timeout for the default is 0, 0. You can change that to a non-zero value. For example, here we change it to 4, 0. That means it will have a 4 minutes timeout, which is equal to the Azure timeout. Then you will be okay. So I think that's pretty much what I want to share with you on how to bring up the virtual routers in the Azure and the best practice and deploy guidance. Thanks for watching.